Robert Johnson's name still echoes through the history of music as one of the greatest enigmas of the blues. In just a handful of recordings from 1936 and 1937, he showcased a voice filled with haunting emotion and guitar work so innovative that generations of musicians continue to draw inspiration from it. But his life remains wrapped in legend. The most famous tale claims that he made a deal with the devil at a lonely crossroads, trading his soul for musical genius. In 1938, at only 27 years old, Johnson died near Greenwood, Mississippi. No official cause of death was ever recorded. Some stories say he was poisoned by a jealous husband, others that illness took him. Even his burial place is uncertain. 3 different cemeteries in the Mississippi Delta claim to hold his remains. A large cenotaph at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, a modest stone at Payne Chapel, and the most widely believed location, Little Zion Missionary Baptist Church, where a tree stump monument with a tribute from John Fogerty now stands. Visitors still leave offerings there, turning his grave into a pilgrimage site. Robert Johnson's life, death, and music remain a mystery, one that defines the very soul of American blues. Johnny Thunders, born John Anthony Genzali, was the firebrand guitarist of the New York Dolls, a band that shook the foundations of glam and punk rock. His wild stage presence, raw guitar sound, and reckless swagger made him a true icon of the 1970s scene. After the Dolls disbanded, he carried on with the Heartbreakers and later as a solo artist, but his career was always shadowed by heavy drug addiction. On April 23, 1991, he was found dead in a New Orleans hotel room at the age of 38. The official cause was listed as an overdose, but the details were unsettling. His room had been ransacked, and unusually high levels of methadone were found in his system, leading many to believe foul play was involved. Thunders rests at St. Mary's Cemetery in Flushing, Queens. His gravestone is a striking black granite monument, its top carved into the shape of a heart with a banner, a nod to his band, the Heartbreakers. The stone features a full-body etching of Johnny himself, guitar slung in his signature pose. Beneath it, his name is inscribed alongside a poignant line from his own song, "You can't put your arms around a memory." Today, fans continue to visit, treating the site as a shrine to a musician who lived and died on the edge. Natalie Wood was one of Hollywood's brightest stars, seamlessly transitioning from a child actress into a celebrated leading lady. By the age of 25, she had already earned 3 Academy Award nominations for classics like Rebel Without a Cause and West Side Story. But her career and life were cut short by a tragedy that still fuels debate. On November 29, 1981, during a boat trip off Catalina Island with her husband Robert Wagner and actor Christopher Walken, Natalie drowned. She was only 43. While her death was ruled an accidental drowning, bruises on her body and conflicting accounts of that night raised serious questions. In 2012, the case was reopened, and by 2018, her cause of death was changed to drowning and other undetermined factors, with Wagner officially named a person of interest. Natalie Wood is buried in Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles, not far from Marilyn Monroe. Her grave is marked by a graceful upright stone of gray granite, inscribed with her name, Natalie Wood Wagner. A Russian Orthodox cross reflects her family's heritage, while the epitaph beneath reads, "Beloved wife, mother, daughter, sister, and friend." For many years, a small plaque also bore a quote from The Little Prince. Her resting place has become a serene memorial for fans, but her death remains one of Hollywood's most haunting mysteries. William Desmond Taylor was one of Hollywood's most respected figures during the silent film era. An Anglo-Irish actor turned director, he made over 60 films and even served as president of the Motion Picture Directors Association. But on February 2, 1922, his promising career ended in one of Hollywood's most enduring scandals. Taylor was discovered dead in his Los Angeles bungalow, shot once in the back. He was only 49 years old. The police investigation was a disaster from the start, mishandled and plagued by sensational rumors. Several famous stars were dragged into the case, and sordid details of affairs and drug use shocked the public. The murder weapon was never found, no charges were ever made, and his death remains unsolved to this day. Taylor was laid to rest in the Cathedral Mausoleum at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. His crypt is located just inside the main entrance near the tomb of Rudolph Valentino. The plaque sealing his crypt is elegant and classical, inscribed with his full name, William Cunningham Dean Tanner, his professional name, William Desmond Taylor, and his military service as a British Army major, a dignified marker for a man whose mysterious murder became one of the darkest legends of early Hollywood. Elizabeth Short was a young, aspiring actress who became tragically famous under the chilling nickname the Black Dahlia. On January 15, 1947, her mutilated body was found in a vacant lot in Los Angeles. She had been gruesomely cut in half, drained of blood, and her face slashed into a horrific smile. She was just 22 years old. The brutality of the crime horrified the nation. The case generated enormous media attention, endless suspects, and countless conspiracy theories, but despite decades of investigation, no one was ever convicted. The Black Dahlia murder remains one of America's most infamous unsolved crimes. Elizabeth Short is buried at Mountain View Cemetery in Oakland, California. For years, her grave was marked by a simple flat plaque chosen by her mother. In the 1990s, a more substantial black granite marker was placed. It bears only her name, Elizabeth Short, her dates, and a single heartbreaking epitaph, Daughter. A quiet reminder that behind the sensational headlines was a young woman whose life was stolen far too soon. Jam Master J. Jason Mizell, better known as Jam Master J, was the legendary DJ of the groundbreaking hip-hop group Run DMC. Alongside Run and DMC, he helped change the course of music forever by blending rock and rap into a sound that defined the 1980s. His scratching skills and stage presence were central to hits like It's Tricky and Walk This Way. Beyond the spotlight, Jay also mentored young artists and founded a record label, continuing to shape hip-hop culture. But on October 30th, 2002, Jam Master Jay's life was cut short when he was shot execution-style inside his recording studio in Queens, New York. He was 37 years old. For nearly 2 decades, the case went unsolved until 2 men were finally indicted in 2020. He is buried at Ferncliff Cemetery in Hartsdale, New York. His headstone is a large, polished black granite monument etched with a lifelike image of Jay at his turntables, wearing his iconic fedora and Adidas. His name and dates are inscribed along with a touching epitaph, Loving Husband, Father, Son, and Brother. Fans still visit, paying tribute to a hip-hop pioneer whose influence will never fade. Mia Zapata was the fierce and soulful lead singer of the Seattle punk band The Gits. With her bluesy voice and magnetic stage presence, she quickly became a rising figure in the city's thriving grunge movement of the early 1990s. The band had released their debut album and were on the verge of breaking out nationally. When tragedy struck on July 7, 1993, Mia was brutally attacked while walking home from a club. She was beaten, raped, and strangled to death at just 27 years old. Her shocking murder devastated the Seattle music community. Friends and fellow musicians raised money for a private investigation, but the case went cold for a decade. Finally, in 2003, DNA evidence identified her killer, who was convicted and sentenced to prison. Mia Zapata was laid to rest at Cave Hill Cemetery in Louisville, Kentucky, her hometown. Her grave is marked by a striking granite headstone, rough on the sides but polished on the front, featuring a large etched Celtic cross. The inscription is simple and heartfelt, beloved daughter and sister. Fans still visit to pay their respects, honoring a powerful voice silenced far too soon, yet never forgotten in the legacy of Seattle's music scene. Jill Dando in the United Kingdom. Jill Dando was a household name, a warm and beloved television presenter known for shows like Crime Watch and BBC's news and travel programs. Her charm and professionalism made her one of the most recognizable faces on British television. On April 26, 1999, Jill's life was tragically cut short. She was shot once in the head on the doorstep of her home in Fulham, London. The execution-style killing stunned the nation. A suspect was initially convicted but later acquitted, leaving the case unsolved. Theories swirled, from revenge by international criminals to a professional hitman, but to this day, the truth remains elusive. She was only 37 years old. Jill Dando is buried in her hometown of Weston-super-Mare, Somerset. Her grave lies in a quiet, modern section of the cemetery, marked by a graceful light gray granite headstone adorned with carved roses. The inscription reads, "Jill Wendy Dando, beloved daughter and sister." Beneath it, a moving epitaph declares, "Your love, your joy, your compassion lives on in our hearts forever." Her final resting place is peaceful, a heartbreaking contrast to the sudden violence that ended her life. David Carradine was a versatile actor, director, and musician whose career spanned decades. He became a household name in the 1970s as the Shaolin monk Kwai Chang Caine in the hit TV series Kung Fu. Later, he gained renewed fame as the villain in Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill films. Coming from a famous acting family, Carradine appeared in over 100 films, his eclectic career defined as much by his talent as by his unconventional lifestyle. On June 4, 2009, Carradine was found dead in a Bangkok hotel room while working on a film. The official ruling was accidental asphyxiation during an autoerotic act, but his family and many fans questioned this conclusion, suggesting possible foul play. He was 72 years old. Carradine is interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in the Hollywood Hills of Los Angeles, in a section known as the Court of Remembrance. His grave is marked by a modest, flat bronze plaque set into the lawn. It bears only his name, David Carradine, his birth and death years, and a simple epitaph, "Beloved husband, father, brother, grandfather, uncle." The marker is understated, offering no hint of his fame or the controversy surrounding his death, just a quiet tribute from his family. Brian Jones was one of the founding members of the Rolling Stones, the band that became a defining force of rock and roll. Known for his blonde hair, sharp style, and musical versatility, Jones introduced exotic instruments like the sitar and dulcimer into the Stones' sound, helping shape some of their most iconic tracks. But behind the fame, he struggled with substance abuse and tension within the band. On July 3, 1969, just weeks after being dismissed from the group, Jones was found dead in his swimming pool at his home in Sussex, England. He was only 27 years old, joining the infamous 27 Club. While the official cause was drowning, many fans and friends have long suspected foul play. Brian Jones is buried at Pressbury Parish Church in Cheltenham, his hometown. His grave is marked by a large white stone monument inscribed with his full name, Lewis Brian Hopkins Jones. The epitaph reads, "At the end of the rainbow." Visitors continue to leave flowers, records, and tributes, honoring a brilliant but troubled musician who helped launch one of the greatest rock bands in history. Sam Cooke, often called the King of Soul, was one of the most influential voices in American music. With timeless hits like You Send Me, Cupid, and A Change Is Gonna Come, he blended gospel roots with pop and R&B, paving the way for future generations of soul artists. His smooth voice and songwriting made him a star, while his activism placed him at the forefront of the civil rights era. But Cooke's life ended under deeply suspicious circumstances. On December 11, 1964, he was shot and killed at a Los Angeles motel by the manager, who claimed self-defense. He was just 33 years old. The details of that night remain hotly debated, with many believing the official story hid darker truths. Sam Cooke is buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. His grave is marked by an elegant, raised sarcophagus-style monument of polished granite, featuring his name in gold letters. The epitaph reads, "He sang as only a bird can sing," a fitting tribute to a voice that still echoes across generations. Bobby Fuller was a rock and roll singer best known for his hit song, I Fought the Law, which became an anthem for rebellion. His energetic style and charisma suggested a bright future in music, and many believed he was on the cusp of major stardom. But on July 18, 1966, his body was found in a parked car outside his Los Angeles apartment. He was only 23 years old. The official ruling was suicide, but the evidence pointed to foul play. His body showed signs of assault, and gasoline was found in the car. To this day, many consider his death one of rock's great mysteries. Bobby Fuller is buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Hollywood Hills. His grave is marked by a modest, flat bronze plaque bearing his name, Robert Gaston Fuller, and his years of life. Despite the simple marker, fans still make the pilgrimage, remembering a young star whose life ended far too soon. Brandon Lee, son of the legendary martial artist Bruce Lee, was on the verge of becoming a Hollywood star in his own right. After a few action films, he landed the lead role of Eric Draven in The Crow, a role that promised to launch him into stardom. But tragedy struck on March 31, 1993. While filming a scene, a prop gun was mishandled. An improperly cleared dummy round combined with a blank cartridge fired a live fragment into his abdomen. He was just 28 years old. His death, officially ruled an accident caused by negligence, shocked Hollywood. Yet eerie parallels to a script once written by his father, combined with the family's tragic legacy, fueled endless conspiracy theories. Brandon was laid to rest at Lakeview Cemetery in Seattle, right beside his father, his headstone of polished dark granite mirrors Bruce Lee's marker, creating a unified memorial. The stone's flowing shape bears his name, life dates, and a haunting inscription from the sheltering sky, quoted in The Crow, "Because we don't know when we will die, we get to think of life as an inexhaustible well." His grave has since become a global place of pilgrimage, honoring both his talent and the sorrow of what might have been. George Reeves became a cultural icon in the 1950s as television's Superman in Adventures of Superman. To children of that era, he wasn't just an actor, he was the Man of Steel himself. Before his TV fame, Reeves had already built a solid career, appearing in classics like Gone with the Wind. But on June 16, 1959, his life ended under mysterious circumstances. He was found dead in his bedroom with a gunshot wound to the head at the age of 45. Though the official ruling was suicide, many details didn't add up. No fingerprints were on the gun, and Reeves had bruises that were never explained. For decades, speculation has persisted that he may have been murdered, making his death one of Hollywood's most enduring mysteries. Reeves' cremated remains rest in Mountain View Cemetery in Altadena, California, within the Pasadena Mausoleum. His niche is sealed by a plain bronze plaque inscribed with both his birth name, George L. Basolo, and his stage name, George Reeves, along with his years of life. Strikingly, there is no mention of Superman, just a simple, private marker, far removed from the colorful hero he brought to life for a generation. Thelma Todd, nicknamed the Ice Cream Blonde, was a glamorous actress of the late 1920s and early 1930s, appearing in more than 100 films. Known for her sparkling comedic timing, she starred alongside legends like Laurel and Hardy and the Marx Brothers. Beyond acting, she was a savvy businesswoman, running a popular restaurant called Thelma Todd's Sidewalk Cafe in Pacific Palisades. Her promising life ended abruptly on December 16, 1935. She was found dead in her car inside her garage, the official cause listed as accidental carbon monoxide poisoning. But the night before, she had been seen in a heated argument, and rumors of mob connections or violence from her ex-husband swirled. To this day, many believe she was murdered, making her death one of Hollywood's great unsolved cases. She was only 29. Todd's remains were cremated, and her ashes interred at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. They lie in a niche within the Abbey of the Psalms Mausoleum, sealed with a refined marble plaque. The inscription is simple and elegant, just her name and years of life. It reveals nothing of her vibrant career or the mystery of her death, leaving visitors to reflect on the brilliance of a star extinguished far too soon. Bob Crane became a household name in the 1960s as Colonel Robert Hogan in the hit sitcom Hogan's Heroes. The series was a massive success, making him one of television's most recognizable stars. But after the show ended, Crane's career faded and his personal life grew troubled. Behind the scenes, he developed a fixation with recording his intimate encounters on film and video, a secret that would later overshadow his career. On June 29, 1978, Crane was found brutally murdered in his Scottsdale, Arizona apartment. He was 49 years old. The murder weapon was never recovered, and though a close friend was brought to trial years later, the evidence was insufficient, leaving the case officially unsolved. Crane was first buried at Oakwood Memorial Park in Chatsworth, California, but in 1999, his family relocated his remains to Westwood Village Memorial Park in Los Angeles. His grave is marked by a modest flat stone, bearing only his name, life dates, and a simple Christian cross. There is no mention of Hogan's heroes or his Hollywood fame, just a quiet, understated memorial that stands in stark contrast to the shocking, unresolved nature of his death. Sonny Liston was one of the most intimidating heavyweight champions in boxing history. Rising from a childhood of poverty and hardship, he became known for his crushing power and fearsome presence in the ring. In 1962, he won the heavyweight title by demolishing Floyd Patterson in the first round. But his reign was short-lived. He lost the belt to a young Cassius Clay, later Muhammad Ali, in 1964, in one of boxing's most famous upsets. Liston's life outside the ring was just as turbulent. He battled illiteracy, arrests, and deep connections to organized crime, which cast a shadow over his career. On January 5, 1971, he was found dead in his Las Vegas home by his wife. He was 38 or 39. The exact year of his birth was never certain. The official cause was ruled a heroin overdose, yet suspicions linger. Many pointed out Liston's fear of needles and the suspicious circumstances at the scene, fueling long-standing theories that he may have been murdered by the mob. Sonny Liston is buried at Davis Memorial Park in Las Vegas, Nevada. His grave is marked by a striking flat bronze plaque mounted on granite. On the left side is a raised three-dimensional profile of Liston, capturing his powerful likeness. His name appears boldly above his birth and death dates. Beneath it, a simple but unforgettable epitaph reads, "A man." Chosen by a close friend, the stark phrase perfectly reflects the raw, unshakable presence of a fighter whose life and death remain shrouded in mystery.